What is macro data refinement actually working on, and what does it have to do with Miss Casey/Gemma in Severance? Let's talk about it. Severance Season 2 spoilers ahead. All right, Severance is finally back after 3 long years, and the theories are already running wild. One of the biggest questions since the show started has been, what exactly are our favorite innies working on in MDR? And what's the real story with Miss Casey? The Season 2 premiere might have just given us a huge clue about both. If you missed it, here's what happened. At the end of episode 1, we see Mark working on a file called Cold Harbor. But just before the credits roll, the screen flashes and suddenly we're looking at what appears to be Miss Casey's file with her vitals on display. So what could this mean? Let's break it down. What do we know about Miss Casey? First, her innie is only activated for wellness sessions and for that brief 8-hour period where she watched over Helly R and the rest of the team. Then at the end of season 1, she was sent back down to the testing floor. On the flip side, her outie, Gemma, supposedly died in a car accident. Now, here's where the theory gets interesting. There's 2 big possibilities for Miss Casey's existence. One is that Gemma actually died and Miss Casey is some kind of clone. I'll do another video on that next, but let's focus on the second scenario, which seems to me much more interesting and a lot darker. What if Gemma didn't die in the car accident? What if Lumen faked her death? They saved her from the brink of death, declared her legally dead, and now she's being experimented on in secret, constantly put into testing scenarios, only to then be deactivated and put on ice when not needed. Think about it. Lumen would have total control over her because to the outside world, she no longer exists. But here's the big question. How does this connect to Mark and the group in MDR? What if the files Mark and his team are working on are actually related to the Severance chips and the people being experimented on, like Miss Casey? We know MDR organizes numbers based on how they feel. What if those numbers represent emotional or neurological data from the severed individuals? The ultimate goal for Lumen could be to eliminate emotions entirely from severed individuals. They might want to create perfect, emotionless workers, essentially robots who follow every single command without question. But so far, they haven't fully cracked it because humanity keeps on breaking through. Now let's get back to Miss Casey here. We know she was sent back to the testing floor after Cobell overheard her confiding in Mark that she loved the 8 hours she spent with the team. That emotional response, her connection to the team, was considered a failure in Lumen's eyes. Cobell immediately orders Milchek to send her back, and as Miss Casey is being taken to the elevator, she starts crying. That is not what Lumen would want with their severed individuals. And what about the name Cold Harbor? It feels a little too on the nose, doesn't it? It could literally mean Miss Casey is cryogenically preserved on ice on the testing floor, only activated when Lumen wants to test something. And Mark, he's unknowingly working on her file, refining data that might be stripping away the last pieces of her humanity. So what do you guys think? Is Gemma being kept alive and experimented on, with Mark unknowingly helping Lumen erase her emotions? Let me know what you think in the comments.